rank here with certification, food safe certification. You have, I clean chicken in my house. Okay. My mama clean chicken in her house. Okay. Her mama clean chicken in her house, and her mama clean chicken in her house. Okay. So my mama did it. My mama's mama did it. My mama's mama clean chicken. So I clean chicken. Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Hey, I'm Brianna, but you can call me Bree. And I have a bit of a big goal. Over the next several years, I'm going to be saving to become a full-time slow traveler slash expat. I know it's a big goal, but I also know that I can do it. And here's how. Welcome to Passport Kitchen. It's a new series on my channel, Culturally Abroad, where I am going to be cooking a dish from a different country, some I've been to, some I never have, while researching and exploring if I could live in that country long term. I've lived abroad before and I've loved it. And for me, that's the life I want long term. But let me backtrack a little bit. I've traveled to over 20 countries and I've lived abroad in a couple of countries as well. So I know a little bit about traveling and about relocating and being a part of a different culture and a different community. And I really, really, really enjoy it. I work a job that I absolutely love. Great team, great supervisor, great culture, chef's kiss. But I want more than just a couple of vacations a year. Like I said, I've lived abroad before, I've traveled extensively, and I love it. And I want that to be my life long term. And so I'm working towards that goal over the next several years while I work at a job in an organization that I absolutely love. So I'm going to be looking at my handy dandy tablet because I don't have the mental capacity to remember everything. And I've jotted down quite a few notes. All right. So every 2 weeks when I get paid, I'm going to be tracking real financial updates, real dollar amounts, tracking my financial progress and my savings goal of reaching my ultimate goal of relocating abroad. This is not just some cooking show, right? This is a relocation journey, and I'm taking you along with me. I like to call it auditioning different countries. And there's criteria for each of those countries to be a good fit for me. So let's talk about some of the criteria for those countries. Cost of living is a big one. Will it, can I afford it on my budget? Visa options. Can I stay there long term and what that process is like? Internet quality. I'm going to be working remotely, and so this is a no brainer. Safety for Black women. Obviously, I'm a Black woman, and being able to feel comfortable and safe in the place that I'm living is also a deal breaker for me. Non negotiable. Haircare access. This one isn't a non negotiable, but it will get bonus points if I have access to stylists and products that I could use. I obviously have beautiful locks, and while I can maintain them myself, and also I can buy products online, if I have access to that in that country, just a couple of extra points in that overall rating score at the end. And expat community. Will I be isolated, or will there be other long-term travelers and expats that I can connect with in addition to the local community and locals that are living there? So, like I said, I am going to be saving aggressively over the next several years, and I'm starting that this year in 2026 with a no buy year. I'm going to be doing my no buy year a little bit differently, but we'll get into finances and the exact outline of my no buy year a little bit further along in the video. But today, we're focused on the Philippines. I am going to be talking about what I'm saving. I'm going to be researching this country and deciding whether I could actually see myself living here. I'm not rich, far from it. I'm just strategic, and this is how I'm getting there. Let's go. Hey there. Before we talk about the Philippines and start cooking, let's talk about the money, the moolah. So, this is my very first financial update of 2026. Yay, me. And every 2 weeks, I'm going to be transparent with you about what I'm saving towards my goal of becoming a full time slow traveler slash expat, which I will be saving for over the next several years to get there. And so, this first paycheck, I save. Dun, 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 $400. Now, that may be a little to some people, that may be a lot to others, but that's what I saved this month. And I'm very proud of myself. Pat on the back. That won't be the same amount that I save every single paycheck. Some will be more, some will be less. I don't know. Life happens. You have to adjust, and I will be adjusting where needed. So that $400 is what we're starting with. And that brings me to a little bit over 3% of my total goal. And I'm excited. That gives me roughly, I don't know, maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks in the Philippines, or maybe even 3 weeks in Vietnam, right? If I was living there. So that's exciting. This is going to be an exciting journey of getting towards that goal of becoming a full time slow traveler and saving over these several years to get there. And one of the things I'm strategically doing is as part of 2026, I am doing a no buy year. I know, a lofty goal, but I can do it. No buy year is really just cutting out non essential costs and expenses. So, no impulse buying, no online shopping sprees, and no buying things I don't need. No buying things I don't need. I'm going to have to remember that. But mine is going to be a little different because I'm doing a Black owned edition no buy year. And so, what that means is where I can, I will be prioritizing and supporting Black owned businesses. That means for the expenses that I am spending on, like groceries and different expenses. Household care, personal care items, I will be prioritizing Black owned businesses. That means um, buying food from Black farmers or Black markets. I don't really have any Black markets in my area or that's accessible to me. So for that, that means even when shopping at regular grocery stores, prioritizing Black owned food brands for the things that I am going to be getting. Again, prioritizing Black owned businesses for household and personal care items. And every so often, maybe once a quarter, when I treat myself out to something to eat, I'll be focusing on Black owned businesses as much as possible. I think with everything going on in the world, Black owned businesses need support. And in addition to being strategic about saving my money, I'm also being intentional about where I'm spending my money. And so that's why it matters to me. And that's why I'll be doing it. I'll also be sharing in each video what my wins and my struggles were for each, as I go on this no buy journey. And I'll also be highlighting the Black owned businesses that I'm supporting. So for my first win, because I'm still in the beginning of this journey, I don't think it's really going to get difficult until around the summer, because your girl wants to be outside. I don't know how I'm going to navigate that, but I am. So my win was cutting out subscriptions that I didn't need. Hulu, I'm looking at you. I think so often we sign up for things, the money comes out of the account, and we just don't think about it. And so, really cutting all of the subscriptions that I had, I didn't have a lot, but the ones that I did have, cut them all out except for one that I would literally be using practically every day. And my Black owned business that I supported was Curl Mix. I heard about them previously, and technically, this was a end of December buy because they had they needed to get, I think they were doing like a special in December because they needed to get, I think, $100,000 worth of orders in order by December 31st in order for their business not to close. And so again, that really speaks to why I'm doing a Black owned edition, by year, and being intentional about my dollars and where they're going. So that's how I started this year. That's how I'm doing this no buy edition. And that's what I'm saving. So to recap, my first paycheck, I saved $400. I'm very excited about that. I did not have any struggles so far in this no buy year and really don't expect any in these first couple of months. And the Black owned business I supported was Curl Mix, and I'll put their information in the description box below. But if you want to support them, follow their link in the description below. But if you want to support me, watch the rest of the video. And definitely um, stay along for the journey of how I navigate all of this and all of the wins and struggles and the transparency. The goal is not to be perfect, it's consistent and intentional. I don't make six figures. I'm not rich. Far from it. I'm not rich. Hear me say that again. I'm not rich. I'm just strategic. And this is how I'm getting to my goals. Let's make chicken adobo. Why we discuss the Philippines. What I like, what I don't like, and is it a good fit for me? The recipe I'll be using is by Ian Cooks. I'll leave the link to his video and his recipe in the description box below. Let's start cooking. Have our mixing bowl, and I am going to add the chicken to it. And I'm just using 4 pieces today because, in all honesty, um, I'm not a chef. I Let me wash my hands. I'm not a chef. I'm not even the go-to family cook. I do more survival cooking, meaning I can feed myself well, but anything out of my norms is different for me. So the reason we picked chicken adobo is because it is easy. So uh, Ian's recipe says to um, add soy sauce, vinegar, low brown sugar, some bay leaves, garlic, and black peppercorns, but we're using ground black pepper because that's what I had in the cabinets. Um, and just a heads up, okay? You see this chicken here? Mhm. This chicken has been cleaned. Okay, I don't know what you do in your household, what you do in your community, what you do in your culture. Okay, but as for me and mine, okay, in my community, in my culture, and in my household, we clean chicken. Okay, there's not a debate. Okay, we're not going back and forth. I don't need your scientific research that you dove into on why you should or shouldn't clean chicken. I don't care what certification, food safe certification you have. I clean chicken in my house. Okay. My mama clean chicken in her house. Okay. Her mama clean chicken in her house. And her mama clean chicken in her house. Okay. So my mama did it. My mama's mama did it. My mama's mama clean chicken. So I clean chicken. Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now back to the Philippines. Okay. So we have clean chicken here. And we're going to add in soy sauce, uh, the vinegar, the black pepper, the uh, what is that? Brown sugar, and we're gonna add in the garlic. And give me a second. Okay, so we are going to mix this together. Okay. All right. Okay, it's getting coated. Alrighty. So Ian's recipe says to cook it for not cook it, to marinate it or let it marinate for at least an hour. I ain't got that type of time today. So we are going to let this marinate for a few minutes while we talk about the Philippines, and then I'm going to start cooking it. If this comes out well, um, I will use the rest of the chicken that I have and actually make it again. And for that, I'll marinate it overnight, and then I'll let you know uh, if there actually was a difference in taste once it kind of marinated for longer than the 5 to 10 minutes that I have right now to marinate it. But this is what it's looking at right now. This is what it's looking like right now, nicely coated. And yeah, I'm just going to make sure it's all in there. Let it sit there for 10 minutes while we discuss the Philippines. Okay, so the Philippines. Let's get into it. So, the Philippines has been on my list for a while. I actually spent time in Southeast Asia. I went to Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore and wanted to visit the Philippines while I was out on that side of the world, um, but didn't make it. And I just heard so much about it, the culture, the food. I'm just like not obsessed, but very intrigued and curious and in awe, right? I like the fusion of the cultures. And so, yeah, it's always been someplace that I wanted to go. So, on paper, the Philippines checks a lot of boxes, right? Super affordable. I keep hearing, conversations of, anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 a month, right? In regards of cost of living. It's one of the largest English speaking countries in the world, actually in the top 10. I didn't know that until I was doing the research for this episode. And it has over 7,000 islands, which means beaches on beaches on beaches on beaches everywhere. You get a beach, you get a beach, you get a beach, you get a beach. We all get beaches, right? So, and in addition to that, there's a new digital nomad visa that came out last year. And it seems like the financial qualifications or income requirement for that is only around $2,000. So, very doable. So it seems like a no-brainer, right? As a remote worker, right? English speaking, um, affordable, great food, great culture, so accessible to other countries over in the Southeast Asia area. So seems like a yes, but let's dive deeper. Okay, I had some questions, and here were the questions that I had. So prior to like diving in and doing my research, these were some of the things that I am curious about and was, really kind of concerned and just curious about. Is the internet actually good enough for like Zoom calls, working on my computer for hours and hours a day? What's it like for Black women living there? Can I find hair care products and salons? Again, that one's not a deal breaker, but just, bonus if it happens. And is it safe for solo travelers, right? I'm not moving with a family. It is just going to be me. And so, what that safety looks like, even outside of being a Black woman, um, thinking about safety in general as a solo female traveler. Okay, so I spent about 90 minutes doing some research, not a deep dive. I'm not an expert by any means, but just enough to get a real sense of whether, I could potentially live there, if it gets put on that list of possibilities, right? So let's start with the fun part. Um, I would say let's start with the fun part, and this is just the visiting, right? So this is what I found in my research when it came to just visiting, right? Not even the living. Some of the top places to go, right? Manila, right? That was a place that I've always thought of going. Manila, and Cebu, the capital. From what I hear, it's of course the capital. A little chaotic, a little vibrant, lots of history, Spanish colonial architecture, great food scene, great food scene from what I hear. Palawan, um, it says it's consistently rated as one of the best islands in the world. Crystal clear water, limestone cliffs, snorkeling, diving. Um, Again, I feel like I'm more of like a city girl, but I like the idea that with the Philippines, I would have access to beaches, right? I don't necessarily need to live on the beach, but I like the idea of being a city girl and having easy access to beaches and water nearby. Um, some of the other are, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, Bohol. It says it's chocolate hills, um, tiny tarsiers. It says those big-eyed primates, white sand beaches, and Siargao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these correctly. I got a feeling I'm probably pronouncing them incorrectly. So definitely correct me in the comments below. And apologies. My bad, y'all. Uh, So this place is a surf town vibes, laid back, popular with younger travelers and digital nomads. But what people love about the Philippines is the beaches, of course, the food, the friendliness. From what I hear, and Filipinos are famously known for their hospitality, affordability. We all know your dollar is going to stretch far anywhere in that Southeast Asia area, and especially the Filipinos. So it says that if you're backpacking for 2 weeks, expect to spend anywhere from $800 to $1,200, depending on where you're staying. Hostels, street food, some activities, intercity transport. If you're there for a month and or you're staying in Airbnbs and hotels, a little bit more comfort, eating out regularly, doing tours, your budget is going to increase. And flights from the East Coast, which is where I'm filming from, Jersey, typically 600 to 1,000 round trip, which is definitely what I saw when I was doing a research in Google Flights. But that all depends on the season, obviously. So for visiting, I feel like it's doable, but living there long term is a different question. Let's get back to that. Actually, let's start the chicken adobo and that marinade should be done. And let's start cooking the chicken adobo while we talk about what it's like to live in the Philippines, because that's the focus. Visiting, yes, but can I live there long term? Let's find out. Okay, let me get the first piece in there. All right, should hear that. Some ASMR for you. You hear that? Uh-huh. I think this is going to be better than I expect. Ooh, slow down, slow down. So we're gonna save the marinade. Here's what we have left. We're gonna save the marinade because we're gonna put that in the chicken after it sears and gets brown on the different sides. That smells so good. Turn it over. Oh, that looks good. Add in the liquid and enough water to fill up to cover the chicken. Okay. Okay. All right. So while the chicken adobo is simmering and it smells amazing, let's get into the real question is, could I actually live there? So let's start with money because the budget needs to be budgeting. So living in the Philippines, again, from my research, you can live comfortably on $1,000 to $1,500, which is definitely doable. And that includes rent for about $400 to $800 a month for one bedroom, depending on the area it's going to be in. Food, $150 to $200 a month. That would include cooking at home, but also eating out locally. Utilities for electricity, water, internet, that would be approximately $100 a month. And transportation is very affordable. They have Grab, which is like their own version of Uber, as well as different kind of local transportation options. So all of that said would be the monthly cost of living there would be less than my monthly cost of living here. So financially, it works. Let's get into visa options. Visa wise, the Philippines is actually pretty accessible because they came out with a digital nomad visa last year. But the tourist visa itself gives US citizens a 90 days visa free. And apparently, from what I've researched, you can extend it up to 3 years in total. So you can just kind of keep renewing for a maximum of 3 years. So theoretically, you could stay for a significant amount of time on just a tourist visa alone. Um, but that gets hectic doing kind of like border runs and things of that nature. Digital Nomad Visa, like I said, they just came out with a new one last year. They're upgraded, I think, and it gives you a total of 2 years. So that's a good amount of time. It's an income requirement of about 2,000 a month, so that's doable. Have to provide health insurance, remote work proof, clean record, all doable. The application is online. Apparently, it takes about 30 to 45 days, and the fee is around $200 to $300. So again, doable. So Visa, not a problem. Internet quality. This is where my big concern comes in. The reality is, from what I researched, the Philippines internet has a reputation for being not great, right? It's not the worst, but it's also not the best. But from what I hear, it is getting significantly better in major cities. The verdict. So, internet meets my needs if I stay in the right places. Cebu, Manila, if I stay in those kind of more well known places, it would meet my needs. But smaller islands and towns, definitely a no. In all honesty, I probably would stay in the bigger cities and maybe only venture out to the small islands and towns for like vacation. So, I probably wouldn't need as strong an internet when I'm away on vacation versus my daily living. So again, that might work. But it does mean that I'm limited to specific areas and I need to have like a backup mobile hotspot just in case. Here's another big top concern: safety for Black women. So the Philippines ranked 59 out of 142 countries for safety. That's actually safer than the United States at 86. So petty crime does exist, pickpocketing in tourist areas, phone snatching, but violent crime against foreigners seems to be rare there. And there are certain areas that you would just avoid, right? But overall, as a Black woman, um, I probably wouldn't have any like extreme safety concerns. However, the Black expat community in the Philippines seems to be pretty small. There are some Black Americans there in certain areas, but it's pretty tiny. Um, from what I hear, Filipinos are generally curious, so I'll get stares, photo requests. Um, but most Black women, from what I've researched, who visited or lived there, say it's friendly curiosity, not hostility. No one reported experiencing any sort of racial slurs. So, stares, curiosity, photo request is different than experiencing any sort of violence or racial slurs, and so that's where my focus is, and it seems like I wouldn't experience that in the Philippines. Hair care access, major. It seems to be a major challenge here. Um, and honestly, that's what I expected. Black hair care products are not in regular stores in the Philippines. So really just comes down to me having to ship it from the US, which is not the worst. Um, here's some additional things. LGBTQ plus rights. The Philippines is one of the most LGBTQ plus friendly countries in Asia. Um, no same sex marriage, but it's legal and there's a large visible community. So that's good to know. Healthcare is affordable and decent quality in cities. And it seems like a private doctor visit costs anywhere around $10 to $25. Honestly, when I had to go to the doctor when I lived in Malaysia for food poisoning, I spent around $20 and it was such a great experience. So that kind of matches. Climate typical year round is 77 to 90 degrees. Um, outside of the typhoon season, which is June to November, it means power outages and flooding. The typhoon season does worry me because it's almost half the year. June to October is a significant amount of time. So something to think about. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I think I did it. With my very limited cooking skills, I think I made chicken adobo. Yo, I've never done this before. I think I got it right. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. Like, so proud of myself. I think I did it, y'all. But I think I did this. I'm so proud of myself. Yes. Yes. To like make this, I'm super excited. So, from what I heard, this is like, from like my research and what I heard about chicken adobo, this is like the mac and cheese of the Filipino community, right? Like in the black community, everybody has their own little way that they do it, right? The base is the base. But depending on, how you do it, I'm sure you think you make the best mac and cheese, your mama make the best mac and cheese, but it's like the staple. And apparently adobo, chicken adobo is like is arguably the Philippines national dish, right? It's not necessarily about a ton of ingredients. It's about technique, right? So the base is the base: soy sauce, vinegar, peppercorns, garlic, lots of it, and bay leaves. But everybody's family does it differently, and I'm sure everybody thinks their recipe or their mother's recipe is the best. Okay, the sauce is dark. Okay, let me try a little piece without any rice, just like a little piece on its own. Mm, wow. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Now, traditionally, you eat it with white rice. But like I said, I got brown rice. We ain't got white rice here. I got brown rice, so that's what I'm having it with. Mm. But the benefit of whatever rice you use is that the sauce, soaks up that the rice sauce soaks up all that sauce. I was a little skeptical. I'm not even gonna hold you because I thought the ingredients were so simple. It wasn't like a ton of seasoning and ingredients, and so I really wasn't sure how it was gonna taste. But my gosh, the flavor profile is next level. Got me licking my fingers. This is so good. Okay, so let's dive back into my final assessment. Could I live in the Philippines? And honestly, after everything I assessed, I'm thinking on a scale of 1 to 10, my rating for the Philippines would probably be a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7, but I'm weighing closer to a 6.5 out of 10 as a potential long term home. And here's why: affordability checks, right? 1,000 to 1,500 per month is very doable. English speaking, no language barrier there. Again, I would definitely want to learn some of the local language, but I don't expect to become fluent in it. So that's great. Beautiful beaches, accessible visa, safety, LGBTQ plus friendly. Here's what gives me pause: the internet, right? The internet anxiety. It works in the right cities, but it'd be limited to those bigger cities. Tiny black community means potentially a real risk of isolation. Um, but I do like the idea of a diverse expat community. So even if it's not um, a black expat community, as long as it's a diverse expat community, that might work. Hair care extremely limited would require me to do it and to ship products. And like I said, not a deal breaker, so that's doable. But the typhoon disruptions, power outages, flooding June to October, I'm not sure about that. So could I live here? Maybe. I think the Philippines is a strong candidate for a 3 to 6 month trial period to test it out, see if I like it. There's certain questions I would want to get an answer to in person, like can I handle the internet stress? Do I feel isolated as a black person, and can I manage my hair care DIY? I think for that last one, probably wouldn't even be a question because, yeah, I could handle it. But the two things I'd be concerned about is feeling isolated um, and internet stress. So those would be the two things that I would really be looking for when um, I go there. One of the things I will say that I found interesting overall in my research while preparing for this episode was that there actually is a um, Black Filipino community that I didn't know exist. So, from what I heard, they're called negritos or um, the Aita people. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I had no clue that Black Filipinos existed. And apparently, they've existed in the Philippines for over 30,000 years. So that is history that I never knew about. I think usually when I hear about the Philippines, I hear about the Spanish and Asian kind of fusion of culture, but I never heard or knew that Black Filipinos existed. And I think for me, that would be really an interesting experience and worth going in person to experience and learn more about. I'd love to learn what their culture is like, what their traditions are like, what their day to day life is like. Um, that technically isn't considered like the Black expat community, but just to know that there is like Black Indigenous people in Philippines maybe bumps it up from a 6.5 to a 7. So I'll leave it at a strong 7 out of 10 for the Philippines. And honestly, that's it. I I don't know. So the Philippines is a 7 out of 10, solid, beautiful, affordable, accessible, but with some concerns that I need to test in person. Um, Overall, I'm a paycheck closer to my goal. Every episode, every paycheck, I'm getting closer to actually leaving and moving abroad one day permanently. And that is so exciting. So, if you're saving to live abroad, let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you're saving for some other big goal or thing that you want. And maybe you're doing a no buy year, or at least maybe even curious about it. Let me know in the comments down below. But thank you so much for checking out this video. And I don't know which country I'll do next, but I'm interested to learn for whatever that next country is. Could I live there, or is it just a quick visit and then I move on to the next place? Again, I'm excited about this journey. I'm excited about this journey of getting to relocating, even before I pack a bag to leave. And I'm excited to see how this no buy year goes. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm kind of nervous. I have no clue how I'm going to do. Um, but this is all a part of the journey. Again, I'm not rich, far from it. I'm just strategic. And this is how I'm getting to my goals. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe and share it with a friend. Peace.